Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, I'm going to be answering the top 10 most frequently asked skincare questions on Google. These are the questions which people over 2020 have been typing into their keypads and asking Google for answers for. So hopefully this will provide you with like a one-stop shop to the most frequently asked skincare questions. I've got 10 to get through here, so I'm going to jump straight in to kind of keep this video under 30 minutes long, and hopefully you might know the answers to some of these. You might learn something along the way, so leave me a comment below if you have any other questions which I haven't featured in today's video. So number one on the most frequently asked skincare question of 2020 was, which products do you definitely need in a skincare routine? Now, I think you can answer this two ways. So I think this could be seen as which steps are a must in your skincare routine. That's really easy to answer. You need to cleanse the skin. The skin needs to be clean, needs to be fresh and ready to receive any products that you've put on it. You also need an SPF in your life. It doesn't matter whether you're in Australia basking in the gorgeous heat of the sun, or you're here in the UK, it's dark, it's dreary, in those winter months. You definitely need to apply an SPF because even on cloudy days, the sun can still be damaging your skin. SPF of like 30 would be a minimum, but I actually recently did a video on some of my favorites, which I'll leave a link to up there if you want to check that out. Those are the two steps I say are a must in your skincare routine, and then of course you can layer on other steps in your routine as you see fit. This question, however, could kind of be seen as a different way, as what is the one product that I definitely think everyone should have in their skincare routine? This is quite difficult, but if I had to choose my absolute holy grail product, it would probably be the Hylamide SubQ Skin. Just because it does so much, it's going to add some brightness to your skin, it's going to hydrate to the gods. Your skin will be plump, dewy, glowing, just feeling gorgeous. It's suitable for all skin types, so it's just one of those great must-have skincare products. So if people are Googling that, asking for like what's the best skincare product out there, I'd probably say that's currently my number one, but I think it's probably related to which steps do you have to have in which case it's the start and the finish, good cleanse, and a great SPF. Number two is, how often should you exfoliate? Now, exfoliation can be really, really difficult to get right. I did a whole video on how to do it properly, which I'll leave a link to there if you want to explore this topic a little bit more. So this can be totally confusing. What I would always recommend is two things. First of all, check out that video because that will just debunk some of make it a little bit simpler for you to choose how frequently to exfoliate. But my top tip would be to turn the package over and read what the manufacturer says. All exfoliants will have been tested, and they will have been tested, and the advice given reflects what they found in that testing and reflects the strength of the product. You should always go less than what's recommended, never exceed that. So if a product says use it once a week, it doesn't mean you have to use it once a week. You can use it once every fortnight if your skin seems to work better with that, but you should never exceed that recommendation. So never exceed, always undershoot it a little bit would be my recommendation. Number three is, do you need different products for the morning and the evening? I don't think you do. Now, this might be a little bit controversial because I do know a lot of people that say you should have a totally different routine morning and night. I don't think you really need to mix it up that much. If you want to take like your skincare to the real advanced extremes, then yeah, absolutely. You could have a whole different routine morning and night. But the interest of cutting back on the amount of money you spend, cutting back on wastage and just keeping things simple, I would have the same routine morning and night. And the only thing I would switch is I'd use a vitamin C serum in the morning and I would use a retinol serum in the evening. Those are the two products that I would switch. Everything else I'd keep the same. You know, your cleanser, you can cleanse in the morning or not. It doesn't matter. It's personal preference, but it would be the same cleanser you could use in the evening. I don't think we need to mix it up in terms of moisturizers. You know, your SPF you use in the morning, you wouldn't use it before you go to bed. But again, you don't need to keep mixing things up. Keep it simple. I would keep the same routine morning and night and just switch around your vitamin C and your retinol. That's the only thing I would change. Now, coming in number four. Now, this is a little less topical application and more about diet and nutrition, and that is, can diet impact acne? I'm not a dietitian, so I'm not going to be recommending what diet you should be on to help support acne eradication and things like that. I think that's a very specialist area that you should seek some professional advice around. However, from my own experiences, diet does play some part in the prevalence of acne and flare-ups and triggering flare-ups and things like that. My skin was always very much triggered by dairy and dairy products. It turns out I had an allergy, that was the issue. And if I had too much of that, that would then trigger itself in a breakout in my skin. Does it really have that much of a difference? I think the jury's out there. Most scientific studies show that what we eat does impact our hormone levels levels, and obviously our hormone levels have an impact on our skin and the prevalence of acne, oil production and things like that. So at the margins, I do think it has an impact. Just from personal experience, I can confirm that. But do I think if you change your diet, it's going to eradicate your acne overnight? Absolutely not. It's part of a process rather than a standalone feature. Coming in at number 5 on the Googled questions list is, when should I see a dermatologist? This is a really good question and one that I get asked all the time. So first of all, a dermatologist costs money, usually in most countries. Here in the UK it's free, but there are waiting lists to see that. Some countries you have to pay if you want to go privately, if you don't have a public option. So it can be really difficult to access a dermatologist and to be able to afford a dermatologist in certain countries. So I would say it's something that you should use, definitely see in certain circumstances, but then use as an option that you could feed in others. Those times where I think you should definitely see a dermatologist or a licensed professional is if you have any concerns around changes to your skin on your body. If you see changes to a mole or a blemish, it grows in size, it changes colour or shape, things like that, absolutely you should get that checked out by a professional, be that an esthetician, a dermatologist, a doctor, whoever, that should be checked out. I also think if you have acne which is leading to scarring, that's an opportunity to really see a professional and get that dealt with quickly, because you want to nip that in the bud before it then becomes a much bigger issue. If you have persistent issues with your skin which aren't being cured through topical applications that you might get from recommendations on this channel or from online blogs or research that you've done, if they're not working enough and you're not getting those results, then again taking it to a dermatologist who can see you face to face and do an assessment, I think would be a really, really good option. Obviously if you can't afford to see a dermatologist or don't have access to one, then tutorials online, reading up blogs, particularly those by dermatologists and medical professionals, could really, really help, and that's a resource I would definitely tap into if you don't have access to a dermatologist. Now, coming in at number 7 is, when should you start an anti-aging routine? I get asked this, so I thought this would be higher up on the list because I get asked this all the time. There seems to be a misconception that you can't start an anti-aging routine until you've actually seen your fine lines and wrinkles. Totally wrong. You can start preventative work from your teens. Keeping the skin hydrated is going to prevent aging down the line. So that could be a really great thing to start in your teens. There is no hard and fast rule with this one. I think it's personal preference, and I think you should gear up your anti-aging as our skin actually age. In your teens and 20s, you should be introducing a low strength over-the-counter retinol, just to prevent some of those early fine lines and wrinkles, and just give a nicer texture and appearance to the skin. As we get into our 30s and 40s, you're going to be wanting to look at things like copper peptides to boost collagen production. You're going to be really looking at maybe some treatments in a dermatologist or esthetician's office to again support with that collagen production to keep that firmness in the skin. And you might want to up the strength of retinol that you're using. You should be exfoliating throughout, and I would start upping the strength of the products as we tend to age, but there is no lower limit for when you should be considering anti-aging and particularly preventative measures, because prevention is so much easier than treating once something's happened. Number 8 is, what are the best products for hyperpigmentation? Again, not super surprised that this question is on there. So, hyperpigmentation is the number 1 skin complaint that people report, and again, it can age the skin, it can knock our confidence, so again, I'm not surprised by that. It is, however, one of the hardest things to treat. There are lots of different products you can use, such as starting with something gentle like alpha arbutin, which will, over a period of about 6 months, help to lighten some of those areas of excess pigment and will help with the eradication of that. To step it up to something like a tranexamic acid or a kojic acid, that will just supercharge the results and speed things up a little bit for you. You can obviously go to full strength things. Retinols, prescription retinols in particular, will help over time, and hydroquinone can be really effective. The go-to product that I always used for my hyperpigmentation and have seen great results with is the NIOD Re Pigment. That's because it combines so many different technologies to really just eat away at that pigment and also prevent it reoccurring. I'll leave a link to that product below. That's like my holy grail discovery for hyperpigmentation. I will, however, leave a link above to a video I did on hyperpigmentation, because I mentioned different products for all different price points. So if you're on a budget, there's some great options for you. If you're looking to spend a little bit more, there's some really good luxury options there as well. So check that out if you're struggling with hyperpigmentation and you want to know which the best products are. Now, coming in at number 9 is, can you use retinol on sensitive skin? Yes, yes, yes. I keep saying this to everybody. You absolutely can use retinol on any skin type, providing you choose the right retinol for that skin type. It's more important than with any other product, I feel, to get the retinol match right for your skin type. You go with something too harsh, it's going to exacerbate the sensitivity you already have. If you don't have sensitive skin, you don't want to go in for something too low because you'll have to wait too long to see the results. You need to really work out which is the best one for you. I did a video on it, which I'll link up there. I've done a video, quite a few videos this year. I'll leave a link to it up there. But actually, at its basis, you want to go for something super gentle and with a prolonged release. If you just get that hit of vitamin A derivative at the start on application, that's when you can trigger sensitivity. A prolonged release or an encapsulated retinol will slowly release that, which means you don't get that initial hit, which can trigger the redness and the sensitivity. One of my favourite prolonged or delayed release ones would be the Inkey retinol. It's gram active, so it's much more gentle. There's an element of encapsulation which will slow the release, so you get the benefits for a longer period of time without that first hit that could trigger that sensitivity. There's so many out there. Just go for something low strength. Gram active is a word you should look for because that's a newer generation which is going to be less potent but also less sensitizing, and I absolutely love. If you want to totally eliminate any risk of sensitivity or reaction, you could go for a Bakuchiol. So Bakuchiol as an ingredient is scientifically studied and shown once used twice a day. Use a retinol once a day, use Bakuchiol twice a day to give similar results to retinol over time, but with none of the redness, sensitivity or irritation. So if you kind of want to cheat your retinol results without risking any sensitivity, pick up a Bakuchiol. The Inkey do one, which I absolutely love. You can get a Paula's Choice blended retinol and Bakuchiol, which is a really nice product. And Biossance also do one, but that is a slightly more on the expensive side. So I'll leave a link to some of my favourites below so you can explore them a little bit more. Coming in at number 10, and I'm surprised, I thought this would be the number one most asked skincare question, but apparently not. Lots of things trump it, and this is actually number 10. That is, should I be using a chemical or a mineral SPF? This I get asked all the time, and honestly, I don't care. Use whatever works for your skin type. The most important thing, we get very fixated on should I be using mineral versus chemical, all of this. The main thing is you're using an SPF. Once you've got the SPF into your routine, you then of course can tailor it to one that meets your needs. You know, if you go for a mineral, it's much more likely to be reef safe, so you're concerned about some of the environmental impact of the chemicals used in sunscreen, then you can opt for a mineral one. A lot of people find mineral ones to be less sensitizing and less triggering for sensitive skin, so that's an option. However, chemical ones don't leave a white cast on the skin, so are much more easily combined into routines for people with darker, richer, deeper skin tones. So you need to factor all these things in. However, at its basis, so long as you're using an SPF, that's all I actually care about. From there, you can develop based on what your own personal preferences are, your skin type, and what you want to get out of the product. I can leave some recommendations for you. I recently did a video on my favourite SPFs, which I'll link up there, but I can leave some recommendations below as well for you. But I think we get very het up on chemical versus mineral. At the end of the day, if you're wearing an SPF and protecting your skin, that is the number one priority. From there, you can tweak, you can argue whether you want a mineral or chemical. It all comes down to personal preference. I think there's arguments on both sides for which would be better, and you should weigh up which is right for you. I personally go for a mineral one at the moment. That's because I'm quite light skinned, so I don't get much of that white cast or ashiness to my skin, which is so I can use them. I like them because I tend to find that I'm less breakout prone when I use a mineral sunscreen. That's just for my personal skin type. But if you go to anybody who has a darker skin type than me, their preference is almost guaranteed to be something along the chemical sunscreen line, because you can use it without having that appearance of ashiness to the skin, which is really off-putting, and you don't want to be wearing it every day and having it alter the coloration of your skin in a negative way. So I just think it comes down to personal preference, and you choose the right one that's right for you. Now, guys, this is not an exhaustive list. If you have any other questions you want to ask, leave me a comment below and I will get onto them straight away. Wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.